Well, 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 if it isn't you, the person pocket watching. Time to give y'all some numbers. I know you love your numbers. If you're new here, I recently did a video about my first 3 months on Rover and what earnings I earned during that time frame. So this video is basically a progression from that. So essentially this year that I'll talk about doesn't include those 3 months because you already know what I did in that time frame. It'll be starting after that point. And from there I'll show you my highest earning month and also my lowest earning month. So make sure you stick around to that point in the video. But let's not make you wait any longer. So in one full year on Rover doing dog walking, I made $21,751.23. Would you be happy with that? Are you disappointed to hear that number and maybe you're reconsidering starting your dog walking journey at all? Well, before you decide to scroll on social media to dissociate from that letdown, let me tell you that that is the floor, not the ceiling of what you can make. Dog walking and dog care is still a totally viable option to make a full-time income. Let me explain how. First thing you have to understand that I wasn't full-time dog walking that entire 12-month period. And actually for 5 months or about 40% of the year, I was working a half-time seasonal job. So obviously the number that I provided you does not include the income I made through that. So those are hours that you could be using towards dog walking if you're not doing another job like I was. And with that, let's break down how much more you could actually make on the low end, the middle end, and the high end if you just allocated the time I used on my part-time job towards dog walking and changed nothing else about what you were doing. My average take home right now for a half-hour walk is about $20, so if we are doing 4 walks a day at a $20 per half-hour rate, that is going to be an extra $88 a day in your pocket. You. Listen, I get it. Numbers are boring. I'll give you the important info, and you can watch the server. So an extra 4 hours per day equals an extra $400 per week, or an extra $8,600 during this 5-month period. You add that on to what I already made, and boom, we just cracked 30,000. Now that's not the end goal, but, it's a starting point for sure. Now if we move on up to our mid-range point, let's say instead of those 4 half-hour walks, we brought it up to 6. Now that's still only going to use 3 hours, but maybe with travel time you use up that extra hour. Once again, this is the mid-range point. But if we do that, instead of an extra $400 in our pocket every week, it's an extra $600 in our pocket every week. And once again, we bring that out to the full 5-month period, and now all of a sudden we are just a hair under $35,000 a year. Now I get it, that's probably still not where we want to be, but at least we are getting closer to those numbers that could be considered lower end salary range. Okay, so let's move on to the high end point here. Let's say we really maximize those extra 4 hours we're getting back here, and instead of doing those 6 walks, we are doing 8 half-hour walks to fit into that time frame, and we'll throw in 1 extra hour you work every day, so you're working 9 hours instead of 8 hours, but we'll throw in that extra hour to accommodate for that travel time. So an extra 8 walks at $20 an hour, that's going to be an extra $160 a day, or $800 a week. When we bring that out to our 5-month period, we are now right at $40,000 a year, which when you think about it, isn't really an uncommon salary for an entry-level position from someone who's just getting into the field, right? Yes, I get it. 40,000 is not enough if you live in a major city. Don't come at me, LA. Don't come at me, New York. I live in New York, but I'm talking about New York City. Don't come at me. I get it. But remember, this is all just a starting point for a baseline salary so that we know that we can make this feasibly work. You have to remember, that's really just a very standard work week. Yes, we're throwing in an extra hour a day, making it 9 hours a day. However, we haven't even talked about how some of the really successful dog walkers, the really successful dog caretakers, are going to be doing this for more than 5 days a week. If you want to make this work, if you're really passionate about it, a lot of these walkers are going to take weekend walks. If it's on your regular schedule, this really opens up your earning opportunities. I'm not saying you have to work 7 days a week every week, but as long as you are open to the idea of that, we can really boost your earning potential. Back to the numbers, I mentioned at the start of the video I would share with you my lowest earning and highest earning months. So with that, my lowest earning month was about $960.49, which was way lower than any other month, and realistically, I was just unavailable for half the month. Between travel and family obligations, I just wasn't doing very many walks for 2 weeks out of a 4-week period, so yeah, naturally that's going to be a bit lower. But I think something that is more important and more interesting for you to realize is that my 4 lowest earning months were actually within the first 5 months I was doing this. Why, you ask? Because I was literally only 3 months into doing dog walking at all when I first started this. So, no, I wasn't doing it completely from scratch, but yeah, I was still really new to the app. I hadn't built up a huge clientele list just yet. And in the later half of the year, I was consistently doubling that number of 960 every month, even though this was the time period where I was doing my seasonal job and intentionally cutting back my clients. So you can kind of see that growth that was happening even though I was cutting back some. So that should be really encouraging for you if you are someone who just got started or you're really considering getting into dog walking. You can see that growth potential happening even with the limits that I had in place for myself. Hold up, I gotta DoorDash some food real quick because, as you now know, I'm handsomely wealthy. Hashtag not an ad. Also, not the truth. As a bonus to the viewers who have stuck around to this point, I didn't even think I was going to originally add this to the video, but I would like to just kind of share with you an important concept that I think would really help you succeed in dog walking. So a lot of what I've shared so far in my journey has been utilizing the app Rover, dog walking app, if you haven't heard of it. And I still think Rover is a really great starting point for a lot of walkers. Also not an ad. But I do think at some point you are going to have to do some marketing yourself. And the reason I say this is because Rover can only attract so many customers. They are only going to potentially draw people into your profile who know what Rover is, who have an account and are actively looking on the site. Now, if they're just Googling for dog walkers, if they are asking friends and what's a good dog walker they should utilize, you might not get recommended there. And you might start to feel this wall, or at least I started to feel this wall, where essentially I had free time when I wasn't doing my seasonal job, but I couldn't quite fill up that free time with as many walks as I wanted to. And if you are starting to hit that wall, if you do have a little bit of experience under your belt, that's when I think you start to realize that, okay, I need to do some of this marketing on my own. Now, marketing doesn't have to be anything crazy. You could carry business cards on you. It's really cheap to print out business cards. You could look into local advertising from your local radio stations or websites, your local farmers market, whatever it may be. Essentially, like any business, you just want to be the household name. You want to be the name that people think of when they're looking for help in your expertise. Once again, if you're just getting started, don't go off spending a ton of money on advertisements. I'm just saying, if you are starting to feel that wall, if you are starting to hit that wall, like I think I did at one point, I would recommend looking into some of these advertising techniques. And hey, maybe you can follow on my journey as I start to look into them myself. Okay, as promised, it's time to share with you my highest earning month, which turned out to be $2,436. Not too shabby considering this was just a couple weeks after my seasonal work ended. So I definitely didn't have a full clientele list. I was just starting to get some clients back on the schedule that I had kept off otherwise. Something else encouraging is that this was my last month that I tracked. So hopefully the earnings keep going up from there, but hey, not too bad in the meantime. This video was never meant to be a guide on how to maximize your earnings. This is just me providing the raw numbers of what I earned, and you can draw your own conclusions on it. I could have easily juiced these numbers to make myself stand out, but that's not the goal. If I've said it once, I've said it a million times. You do this job because you love spending time with dogs. That comes first. That still comes above everything else. Now, I do like to take viewers with me along this journey to see, what growth is possible for me, and they can get an idea for themselves. But I'm going to do it in a way that's 100% genuine. That's why at the start of the video I said it's possible to make a full-time income off of this, not that you're going to get super wealthy off of it. Just like any field, it's possible to make a lot of money. But maybe you're someone who just wants it to be their livelihood, and you're doing it for the love of the dogs, and that's okay too. With that said, I know some of you are probably hoping for more than a guide to make $40,000. I get it. I will leave you with something that you can hold on to. Essentially, remember, these numbers are just a baseline, but there are other ways to increase your income in this field. One example would be to get some training and actually become a dog trainer yourself. And this wouldn't conflict because you could hold weekend clinics where you are walking full-time during the week, but you hold weekend clinics to help with your dog training business. That's one avenue you could take, and it could really increase your earnings. Another route you could go would be specializing in group walks. If your rate is $20 per half hour, but hey, you are group walking 5 dogs at a time, just like that, your rate is now $100 per hour because you are getting 5 streams of income there. There are plenty of paths if you want to start this journey. It's just up to you to determine how to do it for yourself. As long as you care about the animals and you love the process, give it a try. We could always use more responsible dog walkers, dog caretakers out there, so go out, give them a walk, and if you love it, go and give them another walk, because guess what? Those dogs probably miss you. And dog clip. It's Miss Lily. Yeah. I love you.